Okay, so today we're going to talk a little bit about home office life. Okay, what home office technology is, what tips I found from experience. I've worked in a home office since I think 1986. I've worked out of a home office, so I'll tell you a little bit about that story. I'll share some personal and social tips and talk about employee and employer relationships. I'm kind of moving beyond just working out of a home office and working out of a mobile office and kind of equip myself to work remotely wherever I am, as long as you have an internet connection and you can really work remotely if you have that type of work. But having a home office that's comfortable to use is really valuable. So let me stop sharing for a second. I don't know if there's anything in particular people are hoping to get answered about a home office. Carol, you got your hand up right away.
I wanted to know like about microphones and what else? Speakers, because people sometimes they get that big speaker because I play ukulele and I might want to record songs, but still I heard that this class might talk
Oh,
about
Yeah, okay. We'll talk about microphones and speakers. I'll show you a website that I go to for recommendations on technology because there's a lot of ways to make your home office work for you and a lot of different accessories you can get that can make it comfortable too. Diane, did you have any questions about home office?
I just want to see what you have to say. My home office, I have let's see, right now I am sitting at a table somebody gave me several years ago. It's like I eat here, I have my computer here, I have bills here. It's like a mishmash. So I really don't have a home office so per se. So I want to see like what you have to say, different tips and all, and see how I can possibly implement them in my life.
Okay, great, great. Pat, anything in particular you're hoping to learn about home office essentials?
No, I just wanted to see what you were recommending for different things.
Okay, let me get into some of the tech topics here. A lot of home office has to do with technology, but there's actually a number of different areas that you can actually do to improve your home office. I look at a couple of product review websites. These will be in your email notes. The New York Times Wirecutter site used to be free, but now they require a subscription. You can probably read a few articles from them, but Wirecutter is a product review service that the New York Times owns. They were independent. The New York Times bought them, and they buy everything that they review, and they review all their products. Okay, that they evaluate. And they try them out. They have different people try them out in different situations, and they look for the best deals. And they typically come up with one, two, three recommendations in each type of product. So if you look at microphones, you would find three microphones recommended. If you looked at webcams, they don't do a lot on software. Not a lot of people do a lot on software, but I've used some software for a while that may help you out. Consumer Reports is a nonprofit. They don't accept any advertising. They're most often available through libraries. So they have a lot of reviews on things like printers and network routers and computers and other things that might be helpful for you in a home office. Okay. And then there's Amazon, which has a lot of reviews by shoppers, but they're not always the best. They're not independent reviews always. And so, but generally, if you get a product that has a lot of reviews, like several hundred, and people have, all tend to agree that it's all pretty good, you'll generally find that the crowdsourcing opinion is generally pretty good on that. And Amazon's a great resource for a lot of products. There's other places you can go to, but these are what I typically use to kind of get an idea of if I'm buying something, what do I need to get and what would be recommended. Okay. your computer is one part of your home office. It's what gives us the ability to work remotely, often to do tasks that we might normally need to do in an environment. So there's typically a low budget computer price range, a mid range, and a high end price range. And if you're looking for just web browsing or email, you can get away with a budget computer. You can get away with a Chromebook. You can buy an inexpensive Windows computer. Macs are not typically inexpensive. They start kind of at the mid range. If you're going to be doing a lot of Zoom and Office work, I would recommend a mid-range computer that's generally going to be in the $800 to $1,200 price range. And then if you need to do more powerful types of applications like video or photo editing, I'd recommend something like a higher end machine in the $1,500 up price range. Consumer Reports, I'm going to go to their website, and they have a great set of reviews and ratings on products. I'm a member, so I'm going to sign in. You don't have to be a member if you don't want to be. Let's see if I can get that sign in to work. You can you get them through your library oftentimes. So if you look for things like, if you can go to their product directory, you can see the types of products they might have. And they might not have everything, but they have a lot of products that people commonly buy for your home and other things like antivirus software. If you look at things like batteries, oftentimes you need batteries, camcorders, other cameras. They don't typically do a lot of things for microphones or specific accessories, but they do a lot of computers. And so they do monitors, they do backup systems. So if you look at computers, they will look at, they'll rate desktops, they'll rate laptops, they'll give you information about buying guides that might be things to look at, and they'll have some recommendations for specific types of computers in both desktop and laptop. A laptop or notebook works great. What you may find is that you may find yourself wanting to get an accessory monitor. If you have your computer in your home office and you can connect that display to your laptop, and then you have a dual display system that you can use, which gives you a lot more screen space. So they have tools on recommendations on computers. If you're looking at monitors, there's a lot of good monitors out there, but keep in mind that monitors change a little bit. And so, but they have recommendations on great things. I have a 32-inch monitor, maybe I have a 27-inch monitor at home in addition to my laptop screen. My laptop screen's a 16-inch. And when you have a 27-inch monitor, you can put two documents side by side in two windows. That's the advantage of a big screen monitor. When you're working on a laptop or something smaller, it's difficult to have two documents open side by side. So if you really, or to work with photo editing apps where you need to get really into, the photo in a lot of detail. So I recommend you look at a large monitor if you want to get more experience. If we look at Wirecutter, I'm going to go to their technology here. If we look at laptops, they have reviews of laptops, printers and scanners, computers. Okay, so they talk about laptops because they have an actual keyboard. And if you don't do a lot of typing, a tablet works okay. But for people that really want control over things, they would want really a laptop, or because they get control. And they have recommendations for laptops for video and photo editing that they have for both Apple devices, and they say that no compromise on power, accuracy, battery life, Apple's MacBook Pro. But if you prefer Windows, they have a recommendation in the Dell. Okay, so but the Apple one is pricey, but it's very high end. It gives you a lot of capabilities. But you see the Dell Windows one is not inexpensive either. This is the price range you get into when you're looking at editing video. And when you're doing screen recording, you will be editing video. Keep that in mind. So you're going to need a mid-range computer, may be okay, but you can check some of the specifications here and see what they recommend. Usually they're high-end Intel processors. Apple makes their own, but you end up with a lot of memory and a graphics card in addition when you're doing those types of things. But for most people, a mid-range computer works well. So if I go to tech and I go to laptops and we look at laptops that are probably good for most people, let's see, the best laptops, period. And Wirecutter has good things. They have the best laptops. They'll recommend, something. They'll typically recommend a high end, a low end, something like that. So a mid-range laptop, about $1,200. It'll still do video editing. Just the video files tend to be really large. And so 8 gigabytes of memory is not a lot. If you can afford to upgrade to 16, you will be a lot happier. You're going to get a lot of big files with video, so external drive is good for you as well. So that's why there's a price difference in terms of videos. But for the average user, this is a utility laptop that's going to do almost everything well. It's just that for people that do video or photo editing, it'll be a little slower than they might want it to be, but still not bad. Still not bad. Okay. Another thing is the webcams and microphones that come with computers are not good. They just are not good. Okay. So I used Wirecutter to find, microphones. Okay. And I actually have two different microphones. You'll get what's called a USB microphone. That is a microphone that is an accessory. It has a USB cable it plugs in. This model called the Blue Yeti is kind of the industry quality standard. It's about $110, $120. There's a Amazon Basics budget pick, and then there's the Shure MV5. I don't know if you've paid much attention. I don't know how GetSetUp supplied microphones to all of their guides, but you may have noticed there's some difference in sound and video quality from one Zoom record meeting to another, even if you're talking to people. Sometimes when students want to ask a question, I have to ask them to repeat it because they're using their internal microphone on their computer. They don't, it's not worth it for most people to upgrade. But if you do any kind of quality work in a home office and you want your sound quality to be effective, upgrading your microphone and using a USB microphone is going to help you. They'll give you better voice quality, they'll do better sound quality, and they will give you a much more reliable recording quality the way you're recording your sound. Yeah, Carol. You're on mute.
So this little guy isn't good enough because he's not USB, he's on the RCA cable?
Well, it may be okay. I mean, what's going to happen is that the quality of the microphone is not necessarily based on the cable. It's based on how the actual microphone is built and how it picks up audio information. So just because you have an accessory microphone doesn't necessarily mean it's good. But we got to remember, these are the best microphones for voice. Okay. The Yeti is really, really good for music as well. But if you really want extremely high quality music, then you have to go to what more musicians use. But the Yeti will work great. The reason is that it has a really good microphone. It has a really good quality sound, and it's been around since 2013. It's past tests by professional audio engineers recommend it as well. This is a budget one, about $60. And then there's this other one, the Shure MV5. I actually use this when I travel remotely and work remotely because it's very lightweight. It's really compact and doesn't weigh a lot. The Yeti weighs a lot. It weighs about 3 pounds. So it's pretty heavy to carry with. This one I can pack up in a suitcase. It weighs less than a pound, less than a few ounces. But all of them are good quality. But they differ in terms of what they will do, and they're all going to be much better than your internal microphone on your computer. So that's something to keep in mind. On webcams, let's see if I can find webcams here. If we've got anything on webcams. We just type in webcams. On webcams, the Logitech models tend to get rated the best, okay? And I'm using a Logitech right now. This is a mid-range Logitech. This is a budget Logitech. This is another one that has a ring light. It's not a Logitech model, but this model is the best webcam for most people. The reason is that when computer companies make their computers, they often cut back on the quality of the microphone and the webcam. And they're trying to put a really small one inside their computer. So it isn't always the best quality component. So you need sometimes a little bigger container for this. And Logitechs have come out on top for decades. They've been one of the best. People that do professional recordings use Logitech webcams for YouTube videos, for home office recordings, for Instagram, for everything. So it's one of the best ones out there. So I just use Wirecutter. It's a pretty good site to use. Now, speakers, I actually had a pretty good success with, I'm using my internal Mac speakers right now. But if you're looking for speakers that will stream music or listen to music, there are speakers that are designed for it, okay? You can get away with something pretty inexpensive. Sonos is really one of the best qualities. Apple's got HomePods, Sonos. This isn't the right category. Let me go back to great gifts for listening to music. Let's see. And I found a pretty good deal on the best computer speakers. Okay, so computer speakers will give you better sound quality. They'll give you others. It's about a $200 price range. These Pioneers are really good quality. There are others that are out there. You can get a smaller budget pick, but these are going to give you excellent sound quality. Particularly for music. Okay, if you're just doing voice, you don't need something this elaborate. You can get something less expensive or for budget picks if you want just voice quality. But if you're going to play music at all, this is what would be helpful for you. So that's kind of where I go for advice on some of these accessories. Your microphone is going to make more difference than your webcam. Okay. And so for people that use software, let's see, let me go back here, the computer, the network, I recommend you do a network test of your network on speedtest.net. Let me go back here a little bit. And if I go to speed test, you can always test your network capacity. And long as you're getting about 20 megabits per second download, you're getting a good network for video. I'm getting in a Airbnb right now over 200 megabits per second download. You don't need a lot of upload speed. Upload is when you are sending things to the internet. Download is when you want to download things. And Zoom only needs about 4 or 5 megabits per second to function. You'll have smoother video when you have better download and upload speeds. So that's one of the things to consider for Zoom or online video conferencing, okay? But these are good speeds. These are great speeds, okay? So that's one thing to consider. If you have more than one user in your home, 500 to 100 megabits per second, but you can see, most home internet services will give you that. But just check a speed test on it to make sure it's running fast. If you can plug your computer into your router with a Ethernet cable, it will be a better and more reliable connection than Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi does work really, really well, but there's nothing other than a wired connection to make it really the best quality. And we do a class on home network essentials that kind of goes into what routers are and things like that, and what home mesh networks are if you're interested in that. Okay. Security, always keep your software up to date. Your phone, I don't have a LAN wired phone line anymore. I use my cell phone for everything. One of the advantages of having a separate phone is that if you had an audio problem with your computer, you can call in and use the phone for your audio connection. And that sometimes helps. If you spend a lot of time talking and listening on your computer, consider getting a headset. Headsets are much more comfortable over a long period of time if you carry on phone conversations with people. Okay, if you just are listening and you find it uncomfortable, don't wear it. But a headset, a good headset can be comfortable. And again, I'd go to Wirecutter to look at that. Make sure if you have a home office, you have a way to get technical support for your technology. Because if something goes wrong, you're not only not functioning, you're not able to work. Okay. And if you're not able to work, it really puts a crimp in your plan. So make sure that you can actually do things with your computer and get support if something breaks or gets damaged or need to fix it. Okay. So you asked about software, Carol. Most of the time, people are going to get by with if you're doing a lot of home office work, Microsoft 365 is kind of the workplace standard. So if you're trying to communicate with other people, but there is a company called TechSmith that makes screen capturing software. Okay. They make a product called Camtasia that is a screen recorder and video editor. There's a couple of others out there, but TechSmith is extremely popular. It's got a lot of support. It's got a lot of training. There's ways you can really do built-in video editing. You don't need any other video editing software if you're doing screen recording. I've actually used it for editing non-screen recording videos. It's such a simple editor to use compared to others. Snagit is their screen capture software, but it does do short screen recordings. It does do short screen recordings. So, and the thing about Camtasia and Snagit is they have a lot of tools that allow you to mark up your video and not damage the original video file. So if you want to put arrows or you want to put transitions or you want to put text in or things like that on top of images, it's really easy to do it with those site tools. Yeah, Carol.
Are you familiar that if you hit Windows, Alt, and R, you'll start screen recording on your Windows? And I was wondering if
Yeah.
you knew if that's any good, or what program are
Um,
they using? Is it
the
Google?
recording, yeah, the recording is good. I mean, most of the time, screen recorders will do a good job. The advantage of if you're recording a screen and you don't have to worry about where your mouse is or other things like that, because sometimes they'll track your mouse, sometimes they don't. But you can do screen recording with Windows, and Macs don't have a video screen recorder. They have still shots, but Camtasia works on both Macs and Windows PCs. It's the editing that is the work of screen recording. And so when you have a screen recording and you want to play it, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to make errors. You're going to have pauses. You're going to have things that you want to cut out. And that editing can be very time consuming. There's not the Windows movie editor is not always going to be sufficient to really manage it. And you want a screen recorder that lets you record your audio separate from your video so that you can edit them both to get independently of each other. And not all screen recorders do that. So that's one of the things about keeping in mind screen recording. So just my tips for screen recording. But look at TechSmith. They have a free trial. Try it out. You can watch their instructional videos to see what they recommend. And they have a lot of good videos for recommending how to do certain types of training, and screen capture and other types of things too. Okay. Any questions? I mean, we can come back to technology, but I wanted to, ask if anybody has any other questions about technology. Most of the time, if you're really doing work, Microsoft 365, a good microphone, a good webcam, a good internet connection, and a good computer. And it really doesn't matter if it's Windows or a Mac, but people that do a lot of video and photo editing tend to like Macs. And so there's lots of times a lot more online support and tools that are out there for people that are using Macs. But Windows are just as good functionally as Macs for doing that. You just have to get a good one. Okay. Your workspace. Where do you work? Somebody said they had a desk that wasn't working for them. I forget, was that Pat or Diane? I can't remember who said that. But it helps to have a dedicated location, like a room. That's not always possible, right? I mean, when we all started working out of our homes with COVID, and we kind of took up space that was being used for other things like a dining room table or a bedroom. Or my first home office was a desk that I got and fitted into my bedroom because it was the one room I could close the door on for the kids where they wouldn't interrupt me when they were small. And at that time, we didn't have high-speed internet. We have dial-up telephone internet at that time in the 80s, right? So, but we mostly did things with email, and telephone. That was the way we worked. We weren't trapped at home because it wasn't a lockdown, but we didn't have offices that we could go into, and so a dedicated location is the best thing. A private room is good. A workspace that you can set aside and say, this is my home office. A desk, a table, a chair, having a space that you don't always have to fold things up and tuck them out. But some people don't have that much room. In places like New York City and other cities, apartments are small. And so that one table is an office part of the day. It's a dining room table part of the day. It's a craft table part of the day. So it serves multiple purposes. And having a good table that can serve that purpose is good. I treated myself during COVID to a powered desk. I said, okay, I'm stuck here at home. I want to make sure I have the best comfort I can use, get in a home office. And so I treated myself to a power desk and I've always had, when Hewlett Packard, I worked for Hewlett Packard and they sent us home in 1986, they started shutting down offices and they gave us an allowance for a chair. So if I look at, it's interesting, the chair is still good, is still recommended, the model that I get. So you want a good office chair. If you're sitting in a chair for more than a few hours a day, it can get painful and it can actually cause posture problems. Okay. And that's why in commercial offices, they provide employees with high quality chairs because they don't want any ergonomic stress that's been caused by the workplace. And so they use high quality office chairs. So guess what it costs to get a good office chair these days? Anybody have a guess?
200.
200. Okay. Diane, it doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter. Throw a number out there. Who thinks it's going to be more than 200? Anybody? You do. Okay.
I do. I think it's going to be $1,000 for a good office chair.
Ruby, where did you get that number from? Did you buy one?
No, I didn't buy one. That's why I didn't, because I just didn't have that kind of money for a chair. I had looked at them, a while back. I ended up getting a nice office chair from a used office supply place, and I really loved it.
Good point. That's actually my recommendation too. The Steelcase and Herman Miller are companies that make professional, high quality commercial office furniture. This is only about $1,000. Okay. Any size, any position, anybody, it's going to keep you comfortable all day long. 8, 10, 12 hours a day. And it's going to last for 20 years. Okay. That's the thing. You're not going to have, if you buy an office furniture chair from an office supply store, even a couple $100, you're going to replace it. It's just going to wear out. Okay. These chairs are made to last. Now that's a brand new one. Okay. The other one that's been a standard for decades because it's been around is the Herman Miller Aeron chair. And Ruby mentioned that, used office supply furnitures. There were so many Herman Miller Aeron chairs manufactured that you can find refurbished ones in any large city that has office supply stores or even online on the web, and they go for about $500. What happened was that so many companies bought them and then they started shutting down offices. And so there's a big used chair market for Herman Miller. Just make sure you get a refurbished one. They're really good. They make all the difference because if you're sitting on a chair and it doesn't breathe in the back, your back gets sweaty. If it doesn't have lumbar support, if the arm positions aren't right, because sitting properly at a desk or a table for a computer means that your arm and elbow should be about the same height of the desk surface. They shouldn't be higher because then you're lifting your arm up like this, like a dinosaur claw, or you're pushing down on it and it's going to make your arm and your shoulders and your neck tired. And you want to have your display positioned where you can look at it straight ahead without having to look down. It's okay to look down for a while, but if you're in your home, you can use something. We had a discussion about home office setups at GetSetUp, and I actually have a laptop stand that holds my laptop up so I can see the screen, and I have a separate keyboard and mouse. But some people just use a couple of books, and they raise their laptop up so that you can raise your laptop up a few, about 6 inches or so is all you need. But that way the screen is even with you and you aren't bending your neck down all the time, having to look at it. That can cause neck strain. So there is a budget one they have now that's actually a brand new one. Herman Miller has a lower cost one. Some people like the way it looks, some people hate the way it looks, but you can buy these new. Those are, but I recommend the Herman Miller Aeron chair. It's really great. It lasts, even the refurbished ones last. I gave my original one to my youngest son. I owned it since '89, and he still is using it. You know, it's still brand new. Okay, because we're not in our chairs 8 hours, 10 hours a day all the time. I mean, during COVID we were, but normally we aren't in that situation. Now the desk was my little treat to myself because if you may have heard that desks are something we sit at all the time. And if you can stand at your desk, standing is a better posture. Okay, so here's some things. The best ergonomic gear for your home office. First of all, a display. This is similar to the setup I have. I have a display, a big monitor and my laptop next to it. That's similar to what I have at home. But little changes like an ergonomic keyboard that helps support your wrist can make a big difference. You know, things like a trackball or a laptop stand. That's what I was talking about, a laptop stand that raises your laptop up. Okay, they're not expensive. Good lighting, having good general lighting and having good task lighting work really well. A footrest, you may not have thought about it, but a footrest can make a big difference, you know, in keeping yourself comfortable. Lumbar support, if you can't get another chair, get a $33 lumbar pillow, you know, I mean, they're great for back posture. Seat comfort, if you want a seat cushion. I don't know, just like people take them to baseball and football games, you can get one, you know, take one home. And there's bigger investments, the chairs, they said, the monitors, the monitor arms, and the desks. These are, I got this is the best standing desk. I got one of these, and it's a desk that works on. It has it has power adjustments here. Okay, so it actually has a motor. It's really heavy duty, so it doesn't rock or shake or anything like that. And you could set it to preset heights, you know, get it, you know, set it up so that you just push a button and it rises up, you know, to a particular level you want. But they're not cheap. They're $600-700 plus tax and shipping, but they really are pretty interesting. Let me see if I can play this video for you, show you what they look like.
Introducing the Uplift V2 standing desk frame and Uplift V2 commercial standing desk frame, the newest members of our Uplift desk family. Previous versions of the Uplift desk height adjustable frame were the most stable and dependable available. But with the Uplift V2, we've made Uplift desks even more stable and innovated our design even further. Both the Uplift V2 frame and Uplift V2 commercial frame have passed ANSI BIFMA durability testing, ensuring the highest level of safety and performance with regard to desk loading, stability, racking, leg strength, cycle testing, surface deflection, and, well, you get the idea. Both frames also have far-reaching width adjustability, enabling them to fit our typical desktop sizes, which range from as small as 42 inches wide all the way up to 80 inches wide. Each frame can lift a whopping 355 pounds and is designed to accommodate any of our hundreds of beautiful desktop and desk accessory options. We've also integrated 48 patent-pending accessory mounting points to which you can securely connect fun and useful Uplift desk accessories. And that's just one of the many proprietary designs we've incorporated.
Yeah, a little hammock underneath your desk. There you go.
We've also improved the stability of our Uplift V2 frames by tightening the tolerance between the 3 telescoping stages of each leg. And with dual motors, you're guaranteed a smoother, faster, quieter, and more reliable desk. Each V2 frame has 3-stage legs, which makes desks extend much faster and further then frames with two-stage legs. Two-stage legs are much less.
You get the idea. It's they are, if you have one, they are remarkable. But it's like it was my birthday treat, to myself during COVID. It's one of those things where I'm just gonna, I decided I was gonna spoil myself and get a desk that I could just. I actually don't use it standing up that much, but when I do, it really is good for my posture and my back and everything. I really like using it. So I'm trying to get in the habit of using it at least an hour a day standing up, and doing classes from it is really nice too. Because when I did classes in a live classroom, I would be standing up in front of the room as opposed to sitting down too. So those are some things to keep in mind. Organization, and any questions about desks, chairs, location?
Hold on. What place do you want to go? You saw the places.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Ruby, did you have something? Or Melinda? Go ahead, Diane.
Diane has her hand raised up.
Yes, thank you. Okay, these chairs, they're very nice and all. They have wheels. I'm heavy. In fact, I recently took a thing on a seminar on avoiding falls. They said, do not sit in the wheelchair. And I know in the past I have fallen out. It goes a little farther than you think it does. You wind up falling on your butt, and I can't do that. So what kind of chair would you recommend then?
Well, these chairs are, the wheels are very different than what you might have experienced on any other type of office chair. These are commercial office strength wheels and commercial braces. So the base of the chair isn't narrow, it's wide. And so it's designed to deal with, situations where people might lean or be unbalanced or have different, body types. They're really designed for that type of capability. Now, you can also put a floor protector down underneath the chair. You just want to make sure you don't want to have a rough surface one, a smooth one. Just get a thick one. And those wheels the stability of the wheels is more about the stability of the legs, not the wheels themselves. But these are used by people of all sizes, all shapes, in commercial office environments, and they've been around for decades. So try and find one that, do you live in a big city, Diane?
Well, I live in the New York City suburb. So,
okay, you can find, just look for an office supply store that sells used equipment, and you can go in and try one out. One out. Okay. Because now they may have a lot of these, because these are such a common type of chair, they might have situations where they might have wheel types where you can lock the wheels in position.
Yeah, too. I was going to ask that.
They might. I don't know for sure. But find a used office equipment store and ask them if they have, used office chairs, and then just go in and try a few out. They'll typically have the Herman Miller Aeron because that's such a common chair that's around.
Okay. Well, thank you.
But try it. Now we can get out and try them out. So try them out. Okay.
Yeah.
Ruby, were you trying to say something earlier, Ruby?
No, I wasn't. I was just listening.
Oh, okay. I didn't want to cut you off in case you had a question.
Oh, I'm fine.
Okay. But yeah, these are tools that if you really work in a home office, a chair can make a huge difference if you're sitting in it day in and day out. And the ones that are sold through the office supply stores just are not the same quality as what you get from through like the Staples and Office Depot. They aren't the same quality as a commercial office supply store, because they're same thing with things like file cabinets and other office tools like that. But I don't use a file cabinet that much. So I just have an inexpensive file cabinet, 2 drawers. I maybe open it once a week, if that. But there's another tip that can help you. And that's for something where you might be looking at making your office as paperless as possible. I mean, they even have tips for here, like how to cram a home office into a small apartment, how to go paperless, and gear. So, I mean, if you're working out of a home office, it might be, as I've read all my articles for free this month. Okay, so you typically get a few for free. But I've got an account. I'm not sure why it didn't log me in, but I'll check on that. But again, you can find those types of things that are available for you on Wirecutter, or look at Amazon reviews. But going paperless, I use my phone to scan a lot of documents, so I don't keep as much paper around as I used to. I keep them organized in files. Okay. Personal aspects of a home office are something to consider as well. Some people work better when they do a task and say, I'm going to do this activity and work that way. Other people work better when they have a time frame. I turned it off because I'm pretty good about it, but I have a Fitbit watch, and Apple Watch does the same thing. They have little tools that help remind you to get up and move. Every hour, actually, ideally every half hour, but every hour, you should get up and move. Just take a walk to the kitchen, get a glass of water, come back, look outside. If it's warm enough weather, open the door, look outside. It's great. Try and keep in mind that you can get really involved in just working at your desk. And so plan some breaks for yourself. Make sure, sometimes people like timers. The isolation can be tough working in a home office, even before COVID. When they sent everybody home at my company where I worked, people missed the workplace camaraderie, environment. So we tried to find ways to compensate for it by calling each other up, having conference calls. We would get together for lunches, try and find there's an application called Meetup. And Meetup is about getting people together in person. Try and find a Meetup group of people that are working out of their homes, and just go for, people will share ideas, tips, other things like that. Be careful of overworking in your home office. It's really easy to let time get away. If you have family and roommates, discuss your privacy needs with them. I know somebody that went to the extent of actually putting a red light with a switch outside of their door so that they could let people know they didn't want to be disturbed. Sometimes a simple do not disturb tag from a hotel does the trick, or you can print one up on your own and just put it on your doorknob. But let people know that there's times. Remember that they're not, if you've been working out of a home office a long time, they may be used to it, and depending on the age of your family and other things. But sometimes it's nice when somebody brings you a sandwich, at your desk, and other things like that. So don't hesitate to start ordering in food. Didi, they can get delivery on Uber Eats and other things really easily. So, just, instead of, getting up and going out, if you're stuck in the office for the day, order in. But if you can get out a little bit, that helps. Getting fresh air helps a lot, and maintain that connection and be friendly, with people. Help somebody else out. If you have managers you have to deal with, or supervisors, communicating clearly, understanding what the metrics are for performance, is important, so that you both have agreement on how you're going to be measured. If you have clients you deal with and people you provide services for, making sure that you are professional in your appearance and style, and understanding that if you are at home, sometimes you're going to have a dog, sometimes you're going to have a cat, sometimes you're going to have a baby. Sometimes you're going to have a lawnmower. And so those things are generally understood. But if you have it all the time, people are going to get a little impatient. So find a way to deal with distractions and interruptions to your meetings that you have online. I know some people, they just don't use video anymore online. One of my sons runs a European company with about 50 employees, and he says, I prefer it when nobody's on video. It's just a distraction. We don't need to see each other's faces. We just need to hear each other and communicate. It's like the old conference call. It's no different. Conference calls worked. You just had to be clear. You just couldn't see people's reactions. So we have a cat now, right, Carol? I see Carol's got a cat. And sometimes and so, I mean, we're a different environment here at Zoom. We're a learning environment. So it's a matter of whether, we try and look, professional because we're the guides that are helping out. But be patient. I mean, sometimes I'll have a lawnmower running outside my window, and it's just really noisy. It's hard to concentrate on what people are saying. It bothers me more than it gets picked up by the microphone. Again, employees and supervisors, about expectations, responsibilities, support, communications. Those are all important things. A lot of managers and supervisors are not experienced in managing a home office-based workforce. And so sometimes they'll have expectations that are not realistic. Sometimes they have expectations that are too realistic. And these days, if you've read a lot about it in the news about people returning to offices, it's kind of a tough situation. I know New York is getting a lot of COVID cases again. Other areas, some companies have put off their return to work effort. Some have said the employees have pushed back so much that they're not asking people to come back 5 days. They're asking them to come back 2 or 3 days a week. And so they have kind of a hybrid work environment. And that seems to be more the way of the future more than anything else. There are some people that work remotely all the time, and they can work wherever they can get an internet connection. I'm actually in Medellin, Colombia right now doing this class. So it's like, okay, I can do it from Spain, but that's going to be a 9-hour time difference. And so I don't know if I can pull that one off. Time differences get tough when you get travel, but Medellin's in central time, so it's pretty easy to manage. Okay, so there's technology, your workspace, your personal and social challenges, and if you're working with a supervisor, that are all part of considerations for a home office.